Okay, so then you were with the Bucks until '88,
Right.
and then, well, it says you were with the Phoenix Suns in '88, but then with the Bulls afterwards. So was that like a partial year, or
Yeah,
what
it
happened?
was it was crazy too, man. It was I'm at the circus with my family in Milwaukee. And we come home after the circus is over, you turn the tube on, and the news flash. Bucks make a trade. I look at my wife, baby, I wonder who they traded. And the phone rings. And I'm like, it's the general manager. And I'm like, all right, man, I know I already heard. Cool. So go to Phoenix, and it's so crazy how small the world is. The Phoenix Suns president and general manager is Jerry Colangelo. Jerry Colangelo went to Bloom High School in Chicago Heights with my family. So he knew that the Bulls wanted me, but the Bucks weren't going to trade me direct 90 miles away. So they sent me on trade deadline day to to the Phoenix Suns. And at the time, I'm leading the league in 3-point percentage. And as soon as I get off the plane in Phoenix, I'm on the injury reserve list. And I'm like, man, I'm not hurt, but we're not going to the playoffs, so it's cool. This is like a vacation time for me. So I got like we're not going to the playoffs, so we might have 15 games left. I have to be at least 5 on the injury reserve. So coming back after that, it's just a matter of me sitting on this 3-point percentage title again and not knowing what the next season is going to lead to. So come back, and right before training camp is about to start, we go into training camp, and then early in the season, Jerry Colangelo calls me in the office and says that, yeah, we would love to have you as an insurance policy, but I think it's a trade that you might like. And I'm like, what you talking about, Jerry? He's like, yeah, I can send you to Chicago if you want to go. I'm like, brother, come on, man, give me that ticket so I can go home. And he was like, I thought you would want to go home and play, good luck and go make it happen. And after that, it was all good, man.
Okay, so you joined the Chicago Bulls
Yes,
in '88,
yes,
and at that point, they didn't have any championships under their belt.
not at all. We
Okay,
were, at that point in time, the Bulls were, I would say, they were a team that we had eliminated in Milwaukee 2 years running, first round. So it was one of those things where they were struggling to get to mid playoff range. And, with Michael was the foundational piece that you needed. But when they brought me in, it was a thing that Michael needs help. So they brought me in, and initially I was coming off the bench, and then I was in the starting lineup. So it was a natural progression, man. And playing under Doug, it was almost a roller coaster. Even though he's a great coach, it was always emotional, whether you won or lost, and it was always a thing where you wanted to be on your point, what you want to be as a professional, but it's a certain environment that's conducive to, the players that you have and their temperament and how you build a chemistry that can take you to a championship.
well, these days most people consider Jordan to be the greatest of all time, but in the early days, from what I heard from players that played with him and against him and so forth, people weren't really looking at Jordan like that. When you first started playing with him, did you see the greatness, or was he just another really good player?
No, for me, when I was in Milwaukee, I recall we were in the playoffs, like I told you, and this is probably 2 or 3 years before we became teammates. And we were going through layup lines, and we happened to meet at half court, and we dap each other up. And I tell him, yo, brother, when we get together, we're going to win championships, and then we go back to our layup lines or whatever. And I knew that. I knew that for whatever reason, we were going to get a chance to play together. But when I got here, I saw he had already had the magnetism of who MJ is, the charisma and all of that, the endorsements. He had his entourage of security and agents or whatever. But when all of that is taken away and we practice it, you can see who he was. For me, having been in the league 6 years at that point in time, having played with Sidney Moncrief, Bill Walton, Terry Cummins, I had played with superstar and Hall of Fame players. And to see my brother up close and personal on a daily basis, practice against him, go heads up, I knew what he was and who he was, and as far as him being perhaps the greatest player to play the game. And to know that what I saw in practice was the same stuff that I faced in the game, but now I saw it in practice, so I knew what it was about, and it was fun, man. I wasn't afraid of it by no chance, man. It's one of those things where level of competition is level of competition. Either you rise to it or you don't. And on a daily basis, he's going to bring what he's going to bring. Now, you're going to rise to the level that you're going to rise to the level, or you're going to feel it bullied. It's going to be how you take it. It's similar to when you're growing up in the park playing with older people and they're just playing aggressive. And you're like, man, these old dudes, they play so wild. No, they not playing wild, man. They just playing aggressive, dude. And you just got to learn that every level gets more aggressive.